Hello, welcome to Lemon Studios, where we talk anything and everything entertainment. I'm, of course, the Lemon himself, Zeke Lemon, and this is my review for episodes 3, 4, and 5 of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. But before we get into that, let's get the house clean out of the way. Share, leave a like, comment below, let me know your thoughts on your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into a YouTube career. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, all that out of the way, let's get into the review, shall we? So, this show has been a little bit of a surprise for me. Now, I was always going to watch it because Spider-Man is my favorite superhero, Marvel or DC, like I said. And last week's video is that I really do replicate a lot of my personality from him, you know, using your anxiety with jokes, really just trying to liven up the mood, having those inner monologues with every conflict that I am facing within life. And the main thing that I'm taking away from this show so far, I don't recall if I said it in last week's review, is that I had no idea how much I was missing just street level Spidey and just dealing with Peter and just dealing with the friends that he has, you know, with Nico, Lonnie. I'm not really feeling his love interest. Like, we haven't really tackled that. Like, we presented it that he has a crush on, I forgot the girl's name, but, you know, she's dating Lonnie, but it just seems like, okay, we brought that up and now we're kind of just moving on from it and really focusing on the dynamic of Lonnie as well. You know, just focusing on these street level stories, you know, just stopping a burglary, stop a robbery, stopping, you know, just a simple heist of have you. It hasn't gotten too spectacle yet. Like, we are starting to get there. We have some special gadgets. You know, we had Shocker in episode 2 and episode 3. We have the Speedsters. And all 3 episodes were very, very solid to me because, again, I think they just really captured the embodiment of Spider-Man quite a bit. And I only had really one problem when it came to these 3 episodes. And it comes in episode 3 towards the end. Now, in episode 3, it's the whole structure of, okay, Norman knows Peter is Spider-Man. They have a conversation at dinner. Norman's like, look, I would love to help you. I'm just, you know, but I respect your wishes. Your internship can stay here. Whatever, but I would love to work with you and to try to help you out. I think you may need it. I can hook you up with the suit, with a more advanced suit, blah, 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 blah. And then we get to where is obviously Peter says no, obviously, because like he cannot, you know, let other people be involved within this. It has to be just him. He can risk himself getting hurt, but he cannot be responsible for others to get hurt as well, because it's dangerous being Spider-Man, especially if people, you know, figure out who it is. So that's why he wears the mask, right? They, again, capture that very, very well. Episode goes on, and then we get to the end where he's battling the Speedster and the girl who has the knives for hands. I don't know. Again, I am a huge Spider-Man fan, but I do not recall these being in comics. I think these are just makeshift of villains that were used just for this episode. I don't really expect us that we will see them moving forward. And Peter gets his butt kicked, and Spider-Man gets his ass kicked in this episode. And I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. I'm not one of those, like, my hero needs to look good in every single scene. No, he can get his ass kicked. Where I have a problem is this is when Norman hacks into his mask frame and he shows that he is useful. And, you know, they go, look, they're not used to these gadgets the way they're using it. As you can tell, this is pretty new, so just use that against them. Sure, Peter does, you know, finish a sentence and goes, oh, so they don't know how to use them. It's my same problem with the live action Spider-Man, is that Peter's smart enough that he can figure this out on his own. He doesn't need the guy in the chair to tell him what to do. I don't mind him having a guy in the chair. I like Peter and Ned's relationship in the live action. I really like Peter and Norman's relationship in this series. I also like Peter and Harry's relationship that they had within it. I actually kind of prefer Harry's a little bit more because he just saying, hey, there's a guy over here. Okay, and then like just giving commentary throughout. While with Norman in that moment, and I get why. I get why we did the spot where it was just like, okay, look, this is where Peter goes, okay, yes, I do need the help. And now we go on where we slowly build the Goblin, right? Where, hey, this is the guy that he trusts the most, and then it was going to be the guy who turns on him. Ultimately, I don't think it's going to happen in season 1. I think this is a series arc, if anything. And I get it. And Norman's a really smart guy, but Peter should be able, like, gets his butt kicked, looks up and goes, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then his spidey senses tick in, and he goes and he starts surveying the scene. He goes, okay, well, the way they're using it, they're probably not really used to this. And then he comes to that conclusion on his own. Sure, Norman could have been in the mask and being like, look, you can he can help him some other way. But I really wasn't a fan that it was Norman who helped Spider-Man figure it out, because again, I think Peter is smart enough, because we keep saying he is a genius. He is so smart. Let him showcase that and have him think quickly on his feet as well. But besides that, everything else I really did like. I like the dynamic that we're doing with Nico quite a bit, where, again, I'm not sure if she has a crush on Peter. I think that's the route we'll probably go. I do kind of hope it stays platonic all the way, but I like that, she's like, man, I'm just losing my friend. Like, I don't see him anymore. He keeps bailing on me. He's now becoming more popular. He's with Lonnie. He has a crush on his babysitter. Now he's hanging out with Harry, and now he's tagging Harry along. It can't just be me and Peter anymore. And I'm really curious to see how her arc progresses throughout, where she does get more comfortable. Well, I do think eventually it ends up in this little threesome between Nico, Harry, and Peter. Get y'all's head out the gutter. I know exactly where y'all are going with it. I don't know if we'll do the whole MJ thing with Nico. I don't see Harry and Nico getting together. But doing that whole love triangle like we do with Mary Jane in the comics, where she dates Harry for a little bit, then she goes to Peter, but yet they still are able to manage a friendship much later on down the road. I don't see that happening at all in this. I just, I would like to see them come together, and they're actually a good threesome, where they are three best friends, the three musketeers that anyone could have together. And I just really like that dynamic with it. I just like how much we are expanding the roster as it goes. Like, even the little stuff that we did with Harry, he only really had action in episode 5, because he shows up at the end of episode 4, where we had the montage episode where he is trying to find the suit. Very cool to see the advanced. And, again, this is like, well, I've been homeschooled, and, I have the best minds ever, but, I don't really get to talk to anyone. And the people who do talk to me, they either want clout or they want money. Like, I don't really have any true friends, and Peter's trying to be that guy for him. I love that. But I will say, the story I am most intrigued by is Lonnie. I do wish there were some other ways we could have gone about it, because we had presented him as the super smart kid, captain of the football team, has NFL level attributes for it, all these different things. And I love the subtleness of the racism that was played in, like, again, the old lady moving her child away from Lonnie just because of the area that he lives in, and of course just because he's black, and then of course the cop stopping him as well just to check on him, and then driving off. I just wish there was, because he's in the game now with the 117, and I just feel like he's starting to like it a little too fast. I think I wanted a little bit more pushback from Lonnie of it too. I kind of wish Lonnie stayed at the practice. I know we needed him at the riot so that he can defend him, and then he gets the moniker Tombstone, which completely went over my head last week. I was like, oh, it's freaking Tombstone. And I do think this is the season 1 arc. I do think at some point Lonnie does embrace the dark side completely. Maybe it is next week's episode. I don't recall how many episodes this season is. But if it is, the 9, then, we have to do the turn pretty soon. Is that he is going to embrace the dark side, because he is starting to like it a little bit. But his football guys like him too. So, again, it's just that weird thing. Like, how are you enjoying this when you almost died and you defend, and then you get that nickname Tuesday and go, I do kind of like that. It just seems a little rushed. I just wish we had like the more pushback, because, again, the kid's smart. He's really, really smart. And again, he's NFL level ready. I don't know why he's not talking to his coach going, Coach, I'm in a really bad situation right now. I get it. He feels like he has to take the world on, especially with how we presented him in episode 2, where, he's helping his mom with the car and everything like that. Again, I just wish I would have liked a little bit more pushback, and to see why he would buy in into going such a villainy route, when we do have some of those subtle hints earlier on in, I think it was episode 1, that we could have used a little bit more to make him go, you know what, F this, I am going to go dark. Because that does seem like the eventual route that we're heading to, because again, we're showing the rise of Peter, but we're also showing the rise of Lonnie, where, he's just slowly getting stripped of everything. And it'll just be really curious to see how this does come to a climax. We did get a brief appearance from Doc Ock, where they give the rhino mask to, where I do think it's going to get enhanced more, where there's a full rhino. It'll probably be the guy that got sent to prison, not the girl who also got locked up with him. I think it's one of the two. I don't really recall one of them being called Lexi. I think one of them is called Lexi, but I can't recall which one, if it was the girl or the guy. It was cool seeing him as well. Again, I think he's just going to be like a hovering presence, if you will. I do like that he especially hates Osborn in this. And it was cool seeing Doc Ock quite a bit. But yeah, overall, had a good time with it. I do have some minor issues with it. Again, I think the stuff with Lonnie has gotten is going by a little too quick for me. And again, I just didn't need Norman to help Peter when I would have liked Peter to figure that out on his own. But again, I understand why we did what we did. But besides that, episode 4, I really liked the back and forth that Norman and Peter had, especially when it came to the suits. I was just like, Norman, these clearly don't work. I don't know where you're coming from. How did you make a company doing with these kind of ideas until you finally got to the advanced suit? It was a fun time. Really like what we did in episode 5 too. Again, with everything with Lonnie, everything that we did with Peter, and the whole dynamics that we were doing with Nico. And just everything that we're doing. I'm having a really good time with the show. I'm very, very surprised by it. But let me know what y'all think about it down in the comment section. If you made it this far within the review, please leave a like. I do greatly appreciate that. And again, hit that subscribe button as we are going on this ride together along with many, many more. Got Captain America next week. If you're into wrestling, we're also doing that. We are officially on the road to WrestleMania. But until next time, guys, I'll see you here at Lemon Studios.